I never really took into account how much fiber was valued, but I come from an Asian background where we just take in rice as part of the meal all the time, and rice is a whole grain. Fiber in the U.S. is usually pretty lacking, and sometimes if you're not used to eating rice or having grain, and I don't mean bread, that's not really grain, that's processed grain where you have the good stuff thrown out and the bad stuff still in. But I'm talking about quinoa, millet, farro, spelt, amaranth. There's a whole bunch of different grains, whole grains that you can take advantage of. If you are not used to working with grain, you can always do psyllium. That's that can picture I have on top of the stool. And I use that as a joke because psyllium in the United States is only known for helping you with moving bowels. And there is value in insoluble and soluble fiber to help with transit time, but there's also value in helping pull cholesterol out, helping keeping the sugar at a low level, especially the meal. In a lot of diabetic studies, if you add fiber to your diet or to your meal, the postprandial or after meal sugars will usually stay lower than not using any fiber. In addition, I'm going to talk about it in the next slide, but fiber is a great prebiotic. So if you are an avid user of probiotics, we'll talk about that in a second. But this is the way we break into adding fiber, and anybody that knows me will always know that I like to have women maximize to 25 grams of fiber in a day and men maximize to 35 grams of fiber in a day. Usually if you get to that point, you're good. And most of my patients, when I ask them to calculate, they might or might not get MyFitnessPal, which is a great app that you can download for free, and if you enter the data of what you eat, it'll tell you how much you average on a day, or at least in your meal, as far as fiber. Or I just tell people to give me a diet diary and I'll calculate it myself. I can usually eyeball it real quick and tell you you're hitting the mark or you're not hitting the mark. And that 25 and 35 baseline, you can go higher than that, especially if you have a cholesterol or a diabetes issue. Go higher as long as your gut can tolerate it, but you have to slowly wean into it, because fiber can change around to give you a little bit of bloating. Fiber can change around your poop for a while, and you just have to get used to that volume, because you will have satiety, which is a good thing, and you won't be as hungry, but you have to make the right choices as far as what kind of fiber. Vegetables and fruits, in whole grain, I'm talking about fiber, I'm sorry, in whole grain, in beans, in legumes, so all that stuff is really cool. Or you can just go get a salad, but I think that's kind of boring and kind of cold. You want to mix it up a little bit. Experiment, that's the best way to incorporate lifestyle change.